awesome intro theme. Hey, Chitlins. So, a couple people have asked me to do a couple of intro videos to um, kind of explain the HUD. Long story short, there was some people asking, hey, can you explain the HUD to us, like how it works and everything? And I was totally okay with that. Basically, when you log in, you see a screen like this, and you'll see things pop up. So what I'm going to basically go over is top to bottom and explain to you what everything is and how it all works and intricacies of what you need to know and how to find things. So first of all, when you log in, and this is going to be basic for some people, and it's going to get a little more advanced as I go. So first thing a lot of you will log into is you will see your game in default settings being very, very low. So what happens is you go up here into the right hand corner, ignore the Steam stream. You won't see that on yours unless you have Steam stream going. This is your settings command. This allows you to log in, staff, resume, whatnot. You can access this by hitting escape or hitting the gears in the corner. From there you have settings, which is game settings, um, block all fleet. This is basically your setup to see your minimap transparency, match options, like do you not want night battles, do you not want this, do you not want competition mode, you know, your camera angle, your save window positions, all that stuff right here. Very basic stuff. You don't need to do auto close chat. It's kind of weird. Block all fleet if you're already in yours, and accept information from fleet members and friends. This is very straightforward on the first tab. Next up, you have your graphics settings. A lot of you talk about how, oh, the graphics suck in this game. Well, you got to change the quality, depending on your monitor and whatnot. You can do all this stuff from, minimum to ultra. I run ultra and it does absolutely fantabulous for me, but this is basically how you can change all the things in the background to make the game look more realistic or less realistic. Personally, I love the bloom effect when the ship fires and the water shakes. That shit's freaking awesome. Next up, you have volume controls for combat, voice, all that fun stuff. Voice chat's down right now, so don't even worry about that. Mainly, it's BGM, ambient, and master volume. Ambient's low, BGM's usually off because I have my own music, and master volume is generally what I leave at about 34 because I run a headset and it's kind of loud. It's blowing up in your ear. Then you have your combat voice system and all that fun stuff. You can adjust the bars over here again. Next up, you have controls, allowing you to change what you want the game to do for different controls, how to change things around. Mine's pretty straightforward. I haven't hooked up my quick hand, which is my extra non-keyboard thing for gaming. You can use that on here. It's actually quite simple and a very easy interface. Your mouse sensitivity, Hawkeye mode, you can adjust, how much you roll in, roll out. I leave it about 4950. It works just fine. I could speed it up, but I don't really care to because I change that if I change ships, So if I'm running a DD or a battleship, I have way different sensitivities for sensitivity. Interface basically tells you, what you can see. Do you want all this stuff on the ship, or do you just want to see, how much durability it has left? Do you care what they are, or do you not care what they are? I leave them on there because a lot of times I'm working with people and talking to them, so I like all that stuff. Voice mark you can generally take off because, well, face it, no one's going to use voice in game. Enemies, distance is always good. Ship model you don't need, to do sometimes. Definitely name and military rank don't really matter, but, ship model's good because then that way if you're not realizing what it is and you might up badly. Aircraft endurance is huge. You want to know how far close those planes are to dying. Ship type and level. Kind of useful, kind of not. It's up to you. Alternate stuff. These are all the different combat HUDs. It's alternate keyboard. Don't really worry about it too much. In range, meaning somebody within range of your ship. Like if you don't want them, if you want them in range, but you don't want your allies to show anything except at range, you can do that. Or if your enemy's within range of your ship, you take away everything. But so if it's within your ability to shoot it, it's only going to show the health bar above it. But if it's not within the range, it's going to show everything from the regular display. And then your combat HUD, like I said, is to damage, all that fun stuff. Recording allows you to record, record last battle, stop recording, always record. I have it always on record because I have a hard drive specifically set up for it, and I just delete them as I go if I don't like them or whatever. But they are saved in .rep files, and that's a little hard for some people to get to. But you can watch all them and play them from here, and I'll go over that at a later date. But anyways, this is your basic settings menu. That's the first thing you kind of can tinker with when you get in. Next up, you're going to go kitty corner from there, and you're going to go down to what's called your social function and your chat function. And the swearing's already there. This just allows you to maximize or minimize seeing your friends list and seeing your chat list. Now, a lot of you, when you get in the game, this chat thing is about yay big, and it sits right here. Me, I have it set up to right about here, and then you click the little, what looks like a stealth bomber, and you click and drag, allowing you to see more of the world. And a lot of people ask me why I have it set there. Well, what happens is when I click tech tree, I can still smash these buttons without this being in the way. So that's just how you turn these on and off and how you deal with that. Now, if, for example, you wanted to add, like, Shoot Me Dead, for example, because you want to be friends with that chode. Just kidding. Tried to say it with a straight face, couldn't do it. Anyways, you right click and you get you get what's called a pop-up menu that allows you to, report them, copy their name to add, block, invite them to your fleet, message them, delete them from your friends list, apply to join their crew, invite them to join your crew, or you can check their statistics. So, you can do that to anybody there. But that's just the basic setup of those. And then over here you have your abilities. Same thing, right click on a name, you have all your abilities. To block people, you can add them there. And then strangers, people who have messaged you but you're not actually your friends, you can see if they're online or not. And then you have add a friend or invite friend to group. So like let's say you want to create a group, you'd click that and then you could invite whomever you want. Now we're just going to close these and we're going to keep going. So the next thing that's important to know about across the top is port. Port brings you home every time. So this, no matter where you are in your HUD, if you want to go back to this screen that you're seeing right now, you can just come right on back to this screen by clicking port. Now, first tab you have is called Barracks. Now, Barracks is where the commander game is played, and you can go through your commanders knowing who, what, where, when, and why. Now, your ships that you own will always show up here in the top left corner. So all the different ships that you have will be in here, and you can individually select them, or if you're in port, you pick a ship down here, and you click Barracks, and then they will show up at the top on Barracks. So, generally speaking, most people smash Barracks and then go, oh, well, I want to change the ship. Now, each one of these slots are commander slots, and each slot has a specific ability. The captain slot allows you to use the commander's captain ability. So if you look at Gunther Lugens here, his top ability has a little captain signature with a 5 next to it. That ability is only able to be used in the slot of captain. It does not work on the ship anywhere else. So that's your first slot. And then you have your gunner's position, your steersman's position, your comms, and your tech slot. And each one of those have a static ability based upon the power of your commanders. I'll get into that more later. This is more or less giving you a brief preview of what's going down. Over here to the right, we have Squad, Set Squad, and Recruit. Squad allows you to pick pre-done squads, which I'll cover in a second. To use a preset squad, you would click Use, and then it is now used on that ship, and you close out, and they will show up here in the positions prescribed. Set Squad means you go down to the bottom tab called Commander Squad, which is, we were here at Commanders up here, this is Commander Squad down here. Lastly, the third button is called Recruit. Recruit takes you to the shop menu to buy commanders with merit. We'll get to that a little bit later, but that's how this works. That's where Recruit sends you. Next up on your barracks is what's called My Commanders. This is where all your commanders can be done by rarity and by ship type, your level, or your get date, and then by their country if you so choose, allowing you to sort through them relatively quickly. Let's say, for example, I want to find a 3-star German commander. All I have to do is declick everything, highlight Elite, click Germany, and boom, there's all my 3-star German commanders that I personally own. That doesn't mean that's all of them in the game, but that's just all the commanders I have at 3-star that are German. Now, the next tab is called Gallery. Gallery is where you get to see all the commanders in the game, and you have different choices. You can highlight what star power they are, if they're all the commanders, both collected and non-collected, or you can select collected commander, or the commanders that you do not own to see what's left out there, and you can sort it by stars. Up here in the top left is qualification. You get qualifications by spending merit and purchasing commanders. The more commanders you have, the more qualification points you get, because that means it's the commander giving you the points for doubling up on them. Next up, collected commanders tells you how many you have, and then rate of collection tells you how many you have out of how many are total. It's kind of a bit of a redundancy. They could have just done rate of collection and it would have been fine. But rate of collection is 65 out of 73 for me. Right here across the top, it tells you how many 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 stars you have. Again, recruit will take you to shop. Next up, you have promotion and degradation. The promotion tab allows you to see all your commanders by stars and by nationality to see whether or not you would like to promote or degrade your commander. Meaning if you spent time on a commander that ended up not being useful in the higher tiers, you can degrade him, like Dudley Pound here. If I wanted to get my merit back, I would be able to get, out of the 300 I spent, I would get 240 back, meaning I would lose 60 points, but I would be able to regain 240 from a commander that otherwise is useless to me if I'm using, let's say, for example, an aircraft carrier. He would not be any good to me, and I could use those qualifications for another commander. Now, the commander points will tell you, from 1 star on up, how much it's going to take. So to get 1 to 2 star is going to take 100. To get from 2 star to 3 star is going to take 300. To get from 3 star to 4 star is going to take 1,000, and to get from 4 star to 5 star will take 2,500. Last but not least, we have Commander Squad. This is a very close thing to Commander, but this is where you can save your squads per ships. So what happens here is, for example, you have different squads that you can list. So it'll say Squad 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 for you. I've renamed them based upon the ships that I use. So for my battleships, this is the squad. So what I would do if I wanted to change it, you drag and drop and you click Save Squad. And that'll save that new commander to the squad that you have. And it allows you to make squads so that, for example, if you're trying to research a certain line of ships and you just want to get into the ship quickly, let's say, for example, you wanted a Connecticut and I wanted a battleship commander squad. I'd go to Barracks, I would pick Squad, I would find BB, I would click Use, Close, and they would load automatically instead of me having to hunt for them individually and put them up there. It's already saved as a squad. That's the beautiful thing about squatting, is you can do all that and name them to different ships. That is the Barracks tabs in a quick rundown. If you have any questions, feel free to post up. Next up, we have what's called the tech tree. Tech tree is self-explanatory. This is all the nationalities with all the different ships and all the research lines where you can look at the different ships. Actually, before I forget, one last thing that's really cool about Gallery is right-clicking on commanders allow you to either give them books if you own them. Under My Commanders, you would click and you would get the little thing in here that says Items. Equip, Items, Rarity, Promotion, and Preview. Rarity Promotion takes you here. Whereas in Gallery, for example, let's say I don't have one of these commanders. I can right-click and do Qualification Exchange, which means I can use my qualification points to buy any of the commanders. You don't have to just get lucky and draw them. You can get them one of two ways: lucky merit draw, or spending qualifications to buy them specifically. I'm sorry, I kind of forgot about that. But that's a user interface for Gallery. Moving on to Tech Tree. Like I said, it's self-explanatory of all the different class of ships that you have in the game that you can look at. Now, a lot of people go, oh, well, how does one ship look or anything? So let's take a line here, for example. You can click on it and hover over it, and you get the interface saying how much it's going to cost, how much experience it's going to require, and the basic statistics about the ship before it is upgraded or have commanders added. Then you can look down here and see different things about the ship. It's going to max out at 28.9 knots, and it's going to have an effective range of 6,400 meters and do a decent amount of damage with good penetration. Now, if you wanted to see what the Lion looks like, you may right-click and you can read about the details, which gives you a blip on the history, or you can right-click and look at Preview. Preview takes you to the naked ship, in which you can scroll around the ship and look at it and basically take a look and see what the ship looks like. Holding the left click down, you can spin around like I'm doing now, and then for center mouse, you can scroll in and take a closer look at the ship and see whether or not it's something that you might like or it looks cool to you. From there, as it says on screen, you can right click or press escape and it'll take you back to the menu as to where you were with your ship in the background. Tech tree, very straightforward, very simple, allows you to see what's out there and see what you're dealing with. Now, for example, how I mentioned how you could click port, it'll take you out of here and take you right back to port. And then your port HUD allows you, we'll get to this in a minute, to manage the ships in the background. Next, you have fleet. Fleet tab is only applicable if you actually are part of a fleet. And what fleet tab does is if you're an admiral like myself, it gives you a bunch of different things to look at and deal with. It's pretty close to the same setup for everybody. It tells you, how to donate to your fleet, how to build your fleet, and the rankings of the fleet, and the basic information of your teammates and everything in battle. Uh, this is where you'd go to join up to fleet battle. You click here at fleet battle, and it would, take you to here. You create a squadron, and then you can only create a squadron if you're admiral, vice admiral, or a staff officer. But it basically shows you, what fleet battles are and your time frame for fleet battles in there. And then you have all your little fleet tabs that allow you to bounce them back and forth through all of this. It's very specific to fleets, so I'm going to kind of keep it light. As an admiral or a staff officer or vice admiral, I'm allowed to see who's here, what the positions are, who's applying to join the fleet, and what our log has been of building for the fleet and whatever happens in the fleet. Next up, you have the Records tab. Now, this is applicable to you and only you. This is everything you've done in the game. How many battles, how many victories, your win-loss ratio, your defeats, and your survivals. Overall, this gives you everything you need to know about what you've been doing in the game and all your achievements that you get. Now, you can do it individually by ship across the board. And you can see, what you've done in every ship all over the place for everyone that you've researched, kind of thing. Now, achievements are kind of cool, but they're still getting better. But this will tell you your overview, where your points are, how many you've done, how many you've got to do, and stuff of that nature. Each one of these have different little sub things that you can just basically bounce through. Not really that great. It's just a great tab of how you're doing. Next up, we have storage. Now, storage is important because this is where a lot of your DLC ends up and a lot of your items that you get come into play. Now, storage is like the workshop. It's telling you what you have, how much you have, and what's equipped on them for ships. Like it starts with DD, then does light cruisers, then does heavy cruisers, then battleships, carriers, and then subs. So it basically is a tab list of what you have, what's equipped on them, and a quick way to take a look and see what the worth is and what you got with them. Now, you can sort this by country.
Okay, I'm back. I've eaten and got coffee.
And then
Channel switched.
from there, you can, look at just your subs, just your carriers. You can kind of compare, see what they're running, see what they're doing. Same with the battleships. You can see where they are, what they've got, and what their worth is. Unrepaired ships in battle, meaning, if you got ships in battle and you've got ships that you need to repair because you don't auto-repair, that's something to take care of there too. Next up, you have parts. Parts is telling you, my ship that is currently in port, or you can pick what's on there. It's pretty much a way to tell you what you've got, where I've got them, and the upgrades that you've bought all throughout the game for all the ships you have in. And you can sell them all. Like, if you want to get rid of all your upgrades on your ships, you can sell all your upgrades on every ship that you have, and it reverts them back to stock. I don't recommend doing that, unless you're really hurting for silver. Next up is ammo. You've got, again, telling you AP, HE, AA, torpedo, depth charge, scout, fighter, TOR. It basically tells you how many are on ship and what you got. Again, you don't really mess with this too much, to be perfectly honest. It's just not something you deal with. Equipment, this is showing you, how many are installed on a ship, how many you have in storage. I've got 3 AA detectors, they're all on ships, none in storage. Heavy armor, I have 2 on a ship and 3 in storage, meaning I don't have to buy 3, I have 3 just chilling there. Same with a lot of other things, like I have 16 hydraulic steering gears, but none in storage, so rangefinders, I got 11 on ships and 10 in storage. I will never be buying another rangefinder for the rest of the game. I can, however, sell a bunch of them because I don't really need 10 of them. So, for example, in this, as I was explaining, so let's see, I have parts. Rangefinder. We're going to look for radar. So we're going to deselect all and we're going to select this. You see, all these are updated radars for the ship, not the actual rangefinder. So you've got to be careful not to confuse the two. Something that happens. Now, this is the ships showing the equipped, not equipped, equipped, not equipped. This is everything. So what you can do, for example, is, let's go back to Scout Rangefinder. How many would you like to sell? Well, I have 10. I don't need 10. I can probably sell all 10. That's going to give me 250,000 silver back because I don't need them right now. So, boop. I've sold 10, which means I have none in storage, but I still have the 11 on the ship. So anything you have extra that you don't need or want, you can sell back out of this menu. You know, like composite gyroscope, it reduces the steering. I don't need 8 of those in storage. I'm going to keep 1. So there we go, sold another 245,000 silver back. You know, it just helps you keep track of things. Like pressure cycle driver, I don't really use it too heavily much, but I don't really get rid of it because I will use it off and on. Now, battle items are smoke bombs, repair kits, all that fun stuff. So you can see there's so many of there. There's like a bajillion fire extinguishers. I don't really, you know, I have, I don't know, 154 in storage. You know, I don't need to have that many, so I can probably sell. You know, you can do it this way, or you go in here and you go bloop bloop, and I want to sell, let's say 75. 75. So I'm going to get 125 back. Boom. You know, I have gold repair kits. I have 387 of those. I could sell them. Generally, I don't sell the gold stuff. I keep it around. But that's how you deal with this, allowing you to control your stock and sell what you don't need to keep your money in. And then non-battle item is where everything comes for DLC packages and allows you to use or sell. So like if I wanted to use income boost, it's going to tell me if I hover over it, you know, obtain 5 chances for a 0.5 income boost after use. Unlocks my arena flag and unlocks the fleet battle flag, you know, for 30 days, for 90 days. You know, whichever. I've just kind of have those. I haven't used them yet. I could sell them for a freaking 1 silver. Better to use it. You know, but this is where you'd find like your Jinsu, your Ninghai, Connecticut, Repulse, all those battle items come in here, and then you left click, use, not sell, and then you'll get prompted to use it. That's your storage system. Next up, you have your shopping system. Now, shopping system gets crazy and all over the place. So here is the first tab is called hot and discount, meaning, you know, what's popular, you know, what are people buying, what's on sale. It's cute. Hot items, meaning people are buying them. I don't really think so. But that's just what they're saying. Next up is the ship purchasing menu. Instead of being in the tech tree, you can buy them directly from here. So you basically go, oh, well, what ship do I want to buy? You know, here's all the ships you can buy. Gold and otherwise. I find it easier to buy them through the tech tree, personally speaking. Equipment, same thing. You know, I could sell in storage, I can buy in shop. Battle items, buy in shop, sell in storage. Commander is what's important, because Commander is where you spend merit, which is this thing at the top. Spend merit as soon as you get it to buy commanders as quickly as possible because you want them. Now you can buy one at luck of the draw, or you can spend gold to do it, or you can spend 900 qualifications to buy one. I generally don't bother with the 900 because you pretty often get them. Now the only reason I would ever suggest doing the 900 for one of these commanders is if you desperately need it and you just haven't gotten it for like an entire sign-in month, for example. But to be perfectly honest, I would just spend the merit at 180 to just keep buying, keep buying, keep buying, keep buying. So there's commanders, here's commander packs, you know. Next you have non-battle item, which is tactic books, which you buy these to increase your commander EXP. These are blueprints, so if you like do a destroyer line, which I recommend, if you do the destroyer line, it's cheaper in the long run because you allows you to blueprint all the other ships of that nationality. So you get to a T8 DD, you're able to start at a T8 battleship. You don't have to deal with 1 through 7. You can just start right at T8 and go. It's a lot of time saver. Then you have what are called battle packs. You know, different packages that they throw together for you to buy. Generally speaking, the only ones I ever recommend people buying is the dominance package, because you get the ship slot, the ship, the merit, and that. I mean, if you're not really hurting on merit, don't mess with it. Just buy the ship. I rarely ever buy this specifically because honestly, the ship's cheap enough that it's kind of pointless. You know, so here's all the different battle packs that you can get: ammo package, paint packages, so on and so forth. Next up's your event tab. Your event tab is where you can figure out what you have to do, when you can do it, and what your rewards are. You know, so you all see daily win, 8 wins, 5v5, King of the Sea. You'll see fleet battle, you know, team-oriented, choppy water, so on and so forth. So, for example, this is where you could get merit by doing fleet exercises. To get merit up here, to buy commanders, to get qualification points. But basically, you check your event page just to see where you're doing. Last but not least is rankings. Rankings is a little more intricate depending on what you're looking for. Generally, when you start out, here's fleet ranking, telling you how many points they have, what level they are, and how many members they have. Personal ranking is usually where most people end up, and then you can look at your personal ranking across a number of different ways. You can see your ranking. Wow, that's a big list this time. You can see who's currently in first for the day. It's a 24-hour ranking, and then you basically can pick 5v5, military, battle power, elite, blah 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 blah. And then over on the right, you'll see the rewards for the positions in ranking. Um, for example, I'm ranked 923 today because I haven't really done anything. I've played one match. I got one kill. Woo. So I would be at the end of today getting about 2,000 qualifications. If I busted my AOS and got up into the top 100 to 300, I would be seeing better stuff. And if you haul booty into the top rank, you get all this fun stuff. So it's a very fluid thing. It's every day. So it only counts at T6 and up. Fleet rankings, time limitations, all that stuff, it's very dependent upon whether or not you want to get into it. Time rankings doesn't work right now. But anyways, ranking system really there to help you figure out where you're at in the grand scheme of things. Now, while we're in rankings, I didn't mean to close that. One of the biggest rankings that you want to pay attention to in the grand scheme of things is primary 5v5 ranking points, because that's where the gold is. So the higher you're ranked in 5v5, the more chances of gold you get, and gold is great in this game for you to be able to buy things. I've played 2 5v5 matches or something like that this series, and I'm at 65 points, ranked 286. That means I'm going to be looking at getting 8,500 gold and some advanced repair kits and advanced smoke bombs. The higher you are, the better the goals are, and you can get in the top 5, and boom, there you go. That's literally like a tier 8 ship you can basically get for free. So the better you do, the better things are in the grand scheme of things for you. I haven't played 5v5 in a while, so I apologize. I've played twice this run. I've been too busy. Next up, especially for the new players, is Recharge and Growth Plan. We're going to start with Growth Plan because Growth Plan is imperative. So the way to do this if you're a new player is you need 10,800 gold. Well, you go to your recharge pack and you buy the $13 recharge rate, because what it does is it doubles your gold for $13. Meaning instead of just getting 6,800, you're going to get 13,600 roughly. So what you do is you buy that for 13 and you invest it in the growth plan. And then as you research ships in level 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, you get your money and your gold EXP back. So you put 10,800 in, you get 22,000 back, which is better than doubling your money. And you also get 172,000 global EXP, which is helpful for doing ships in the tech tree. But growth plan is really easy to do. Recharge packs are good. You basically buy them and it doubles your thing. We're trying to convince them to reset the gold recharge packs every 90 days, which would be nice, because I know a lot of people aren't made of money. But if you could put $25 in this game a month, a lot of people could. And what that would allow you to do is get about 25,000, 26,000 gold every 3 months. That's pretty good. 25 bucks for 3 months is not a bad gig. But that's your HUD right there. Now above this, you see your tutorial. This is pretty explanatory. They walk you through tutorial, so I'm going to skip that. Next up is VIP. VIP, you have 2 ways to do it. By battles, which gives you a 100% bonus, or you can do it by time. I honestly say time is better. You get more in the long run. It is half of what this does, but I could blow through 240 matches in less than a month, which, then I would be spending, let's see, 240 matches, that's 12,000 gold versus 17,000 gold. Yeah, you're going to be spending way more in that in the long run, especially if you play a lot. And the cool thing is you get the Connecticut if you buy the 180. It's a gold tier 2 ship, this thing right here. It's fun in tier 2, let me tell you what. So anyways, that's your VIP days, which I recommend doing the days, not the battles. Next up is your renown point, your military rank system. This explains to you where you are, what the rank is, and then if you click reward, reward tells you what you get for being in that rank. It also tells you when the rank rewards, and I think this month is going to be January 1st at 3 is when this ends. So I have until January 1st to get as high in the ranks as possible. Next up, you have your name, which you can change for 1,800 gold. Merit tells you how much merit you have. Exchange EXP allows you to take experience from your ships with gold and change it into global EXP, which allows you to research ships and balance it out if you're just shy. Basically, what that means is, like, let's say, see right here, I have these ships, they have EXP on it, but there's nothing I can research. I can take that and go 23,567, and it's gonna cost me 2,000 gold, or excuse me, 14,000 gold to get that into exchange EXP to bring my total to 101,428. I don't really need that right now. It's cute, but I don't need it. Uh, Next up is silver. You change your gold to silver. I don't know many people that do that. I don't. It's a waste. You get silver pretty easily. And then recharge brings you back to the recharge screen. And then we already covered the settings menu. The commander menu, bringing us back down now that we've done the top. The commander menu allows you to show you who your commanders are on the ship that you have displayed. So what that does is, for example, I have highlighted my Illinois as my ship. What this is telling me right now is this is showing me my commander setup, and what happens here is you have twofold. One, if you hover over the commander, you can see, what the commander has. Blue means they're able to use it, gray means they're not. But it tells me what they're doing in each one of the slots. See how ballistics is gray? Because he's not in the commander slot, I can't use that, or that ability is not in effect. Ralph Mueller has gray because he's not 3-star and he's not 4-star, so he can't use either one of those abilities until such time. Same with Dudley Pound, can't use the captain ability in the slot, nor can he use his main name because he is only a 3-star, not a 4-star. Same with Chiaki. But this is just telling me what these guys are doing. Now, the really cool part about this is your commander pointing system. So right here, with Gunther in the slot that he's in, shows he is, increasing under commander CP by 8%, and he's regenerating commander points, the little bars, at 17.5%. All these numbers change by battle power and commanders. So what you see here is not what you might see because you may have different commanders or be different levels. So take that with a grain of salt. I'm just using this as a demonstration. Because of the way this is set up, each one of these abilities has different settings and numerical values that change depending on the captains on board. Now the ship has a base setup of things that it has naturally and then what your commanders do. And what you get is this screen over here to the right. And this screen over here to the right tells you the base durability, the base displacement, base armor, depending on the values found right here by the static, not the commander, and your tech slots. So what you see here is what it is in port. These have no effect as commanders on these numbers until you are in game. And these numbers are still not 100% perfect because I haven't figured out the actual specific percent numerical value, but they are relatively close. But this gives you a broad idea of what your ship can do, what it has, and what it's capable of doing. Now, next up for your HUD for your ship is you have your start button with your different modes. Clicking the mode will change you between normal, event, and training mode. Training mode takes you into a non-calculated training room that just dings you for silver for planes and shell use, not for winning or losing or anything like that. So no EXP or civil will be rewarded, neither will any repair costs be required. So your ship gets sunk, doesn't do anything, you just have to pay for the shells you used. The event mode allows you for 5v5 and challenge modes are available, and you go into that screen at the appropriate times. Normal mode is just regular matchmaking. So you click that, and it takes you in there. Now, next up, you have maintenance. Maintenance allows you to control what gets repaired, what gets autoed, and what you have on your ship. It's a great system for knowing, here's your ammo. You can do auto repair, or you can repair it yourself manually if your ship, if you don't feel like you take enough damage, you can repair it yourself, or you can let it do it automatically. I have set it up to automatic. It doesn't bother me. Some people are a little more stingy about it. Whatever. Then you can pick your ammo for your primary, your secondary, and your AA. You never really mess with AA because there's no point because there's only one AA. Your airplanes, you can, some of them allow you to change from scouts to fighters to torpedo to dive bombers. And then you have your battle item resupply. Now there's two ways to get to battle item resupply. The maintenance tab is one of them, or you can click down here, right click, and it brings you to the specific one. Next is research. Research takes you to the tech tree to let you see what the ship is specifically and where you're sitting in with its upgrades. Clicking port will take you back. Paint and flag gives you the options, as it obviously stands for painting and flagging your ship. Now, each ship has different paint jobs and different costs, and I have no idea why that is on there. That's not the 78. But that is how, whoops, this is how you change your paint job. It'll show it up on the ship so you can actually see what it looks like, whether you like it or not. God. I love a preview of blue steel, but this is a bit much. Just saying. Oh, look. I have to unlock it. But anyways, that's how you can check your paint job on your ship from Paint and Flag. Down here is telling you what your guns are specifically, their rate of train, fire, and all that stuff. So if you want to look at something quickly and see how they're doing, that's what you can do. These 3 slots right here are called tech slots. Now, you can pick different things to do different stuff on your ship. You know, you can increase, decrease, change out, do whatever you want. It's personal preference as to what ship you have and what you want to put on there for each one of these slots. And moving down from there, you are looking at your port filter. Port filter allows you to pick what generation or what country ship you have, what style of ship it is, what tier it is, and whether or not it's your flagship. I have 2 ships flagged as flagship. They're my higher tier 10s, so they're flagshipped out. Now, you can go, alright, well, I just want to find DDs of all levels. Okay, well, maybe I just want the DDs for level 6. Boom, done. You know, it's a very useful system. You know, I don't have very many ships because I tend to just not keep the ships that I don't use on there. But anyways, guys, this is just a very quick rundown of where to find things and how to navigate the HUD for Steel Ocean. I hope you enjoyed, and if you have any questions, you know where to find me. Thanks, guys.